weird landscape at the moment, boxing, isn't it? A lot of weird landscape. There's a lot of weird moves going on. Stuff that you wouldn't necessarily predict would have happened 2 to 3 months ago is now starting to materialise. Of course, we do know that on August the 20th, Saudi Arabia is the destination, and Alexander Usyk will be defending his unified heavyweight championships against Anthony Joshua. And as Gareth just pointed out there, from a consumer's point of view, I suppose the majority of fans aren't necessarily too bothered who promotes it, on what television channel has it, or what radio station has it. At the end of the day, if you want to consume it, you'll be able to consume it. You'll be able to get your hands on it. But optic-wise, for DAZN as a broadcast channel, I genuinely think this is a little bit of a disaster. I say a little bit of a disaster. It's a major disaster because they've got an exclusive rights deal when it comes to broadcasting with the promoter of this fight, which is Matchroom Boxing. They've got an exclusive broadcast deal which has only just been announced with Anthony Joshua, but yet they will not be broadcasting this particular fight. This fight, we are led to believe, will be on the Sky Sports platform. DAZN have paid astronomical figures to Matchroom for exclusivity, astronomical figures to Anthony Joshua. They've even gone full Kylian Mbappe on him and offered him various equity stakes within the company. But yet this fight, and this pivotal fight in Anthony Joshua's career, will not be broadcast on their platform. And it does feel like an incredible gamble on their part. I mean, ever since they came into this landscape, Gareth, they've made some big, bold decisions, and a lot of them have backfired. If you remember right at the start, they went 350 million in on Canelo, 10-fight deal, guaranteeing him purses of 35 million a pop. They then went big on Triple G, signing him exclusively to DAZN when he was 37, 38 years of age. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, man, you're spending some serious dough and taking major, major risks in the hope of maybe getting themselves that big unification, that third fight, which they've now got on their pay-per-view platform with Triple G and Canelo going at it again in September. Now, of course, they've made this big gamble on Anthony Joshua, and a lot rides on Anthony Joshua winning this fight for DAZN going forward. Because if he doesn't win this fight going forward, of course there are fights for him, and we've expressed this over the last couple of weeks. We'd love to see him in with Wilder and White and various others, of course.
All of them.
But they don't necessarily have the magnitude of a world championship fight, especially if the belts are with Usyk and still with Tyson Fury. The big question is, and we'll hopefully get to speak to Frank Warren about this a little bit later on, DAZN have edged their bets a little bit in Joshua winning, and he's more than capable of winning. So if he wins, he's a unified champion again. They will then want to make the undisputed heavyweight championship fight. What's the likelihood of Tyson Fury fighting on DAZN? I know they've got a lot of money. They'll have to pay him a lot of money. He's talking about $500 million. But the real... The
it won't be $500 million. But
yeah, exactly that. But the realistic status of that is that he's assigned to Queensberry Promotions, who have their own television deal with BT Sport. Are they going to allow him to come over? I think it's a major, major risk from DAZN. Yeah. And them not getting this fight is a disaster.
Yeah, to add to some of the things you were saying there, I think... It's what DAZN, I've got to say about DAZN, like they say in business, you know, you can have your rivals and your enemies, but don't bear any grudges. And they don't bear any grudges. You know, they had Canelo 10 fights, $36.5 million a fight with the Oscar De La Hoya deal and Golden Boy, and then he left Golden Boy and they did their own deal with Canelo afterwards. I think they're quite... I want to say they're smart. I think they should have gone guns out, complete guns out to win this bidding war with Sky, and not pulled out and not capped their bid, even if it was at a loss to save face. But they've decided not to. They'll always live to fight another day. They've got extraordinary wealthy backing from Sir Leonard Blavatnik. They're ahead of the game with lots of the other broadcasters who are still linear, in my view. You know, they're about to create DAZN and DAZN Plus as a pay-per-view arm online so that people don't subscribe. There'll be more of a red button process. That's coming. And that's what they're thinking about Anthony Joshua. I completely agree with you on the fact that this is a real roll of the dice. If Joshua wins, they're quids in. If Joshua wins against Alexander Usyk on August the 20th in Jeddah, and if he does use educated pressure and he puts Usyk under pressure, and Usyk is affected by the war in Ukraine, and he doesn't look a happy man at the moment. He doesn't look a man who wants a battle. He's putting on a brave face, in my view. If Joshua wins that, they're quids in.
How?
Well, Because his stock comes back then, for one.
Of course, I get that.
He will have fought in front of a huge audience on Sky. I think it'll be a million audience because there'll be so many fascinated faces. I broke the story on Thursday night about Sky having the deal, and I believe they reportedly and I understood that they had put $28 million into the deal, £23 million. I understand that DAZN pulled out just before that. Some people are saying it was 15. I believe it was over 20 they were prepared to pay. And, you know, no one's talking about that publicly at the moment, by the way. But I think DAZN have probably got egg on their faces over it. That the actual process of how the negotiation came to be is more complex than just a simple top line of they outbid each other. It's very nuanced, and I haven't been able to piece together every tiny detail yet, and my sources won't give me every detail at the moment. So but we will know in the next week or two. The whole story, you know, I mean, supposedly what went on is like a bank heist in the end. Like it's an extraordinary tale of negotiation and people coming into the deals. We understand other broadcasters were involved. To answer your question, having run around the houses a little bit there to add to things you were saying, I'm not sure it matters if Joshua's got 3 of the belts. They don't necessarily have to have Tyson Fury next. So because they can play games a little more.
Yeah, but nobody wants that.
We all want it. Yeah, we all want it. I mean, you know, Tyson Fury might sit back and go, no, fight Joe Joyce first. Fight, you know, some of the other contenders. Fight Deontay Wilder.
But these contenders are aligned to other broadcasters. This is my point. So therefore, it's going to cost them even more money to get those contenders onto their channel.
They'll make big money with Joshua, in my view. I think they've got look. They've used boxing as a lost leader, I think, for a long time now as a part of their. They haven't got the football rights. They withdrew from them recently, didn't they?
The Champions League, yeah.
The Champions League.
They tried to purchase BT Sport. That didn't work because obviously Discovery ended up purchasing them. They've been left the football rights for some time and they've not managed to do that.
But what we must remember with them is they go back. Like the tide, the tide goes out again, then they'll come back again. They'll come back in, and they are ahead of the game digitally. They're trying things all the time, and you know, even though we might be critical of the fact that they put on too many cards at the moment, so that we get these cards a bit like Derek Chisora and Kubrat Pulev tonight, but you know, about to go on, as we're saying in over at the O2 Arena.
Yeah, but they're not putting this stuff on, are they? This is Matchroom. Matchroom for people that. It's a confusing...
But they've paid for it, though.
It's such a confusing thing. From an optic point of view, it's so confusing because Matchroom have their own production company, which are putting these events on, of which DAZN have paid them for. DAZN are not, obviously, the production of this. DAZN are buying the production off Matchroom. So Matchroom are making their own in-house thing. They're making the fight. They're putting the production together, and DAZN are literally just buying it off.
Yeah, it's a copy of what the UFC have done for 20-odd years, isn't it? With the broadcasters they work with. They've said, no, we're the production guys.
Yes.
You give us the platform. We'll choose the commentators. We'll choose the talent. And we'll do the nitty gritty because we are the ones that know how to do it.
But that's a lot of power to give away to the promoter, isn't it?
It is. And in some ways, maybe they've given too much power to the promoter Eddie Hearn. You know, I don't want to knock Eddie. He does a fantastic job. He's an extraordinary character. And I know, you know, there's a lot of insidiousness and a lot of envy in our sport. And, you know, you're either in the camp or you're not with rival broadcasters and rival promoters and rival camps, all those kind of things. But we sit in the lucky position that we work with all of them. You know, you and I actually work with some of them. But we are fundamentally independent. We are able to give independent views. And my independent view is that Eddie Hearn, you know, is arguably one of the great promoters already. He's done an extraordinary job. He's created a process, and he needed for that Anthony Joshua. Yeah, he needed Carl Froch. You know, we didn't know in 2014 that he'd be capable of putting on 80,000 people at Wembley with Carl Froch and George Groves. An extraordinary thing that he pulled off where he realised he could do stadium fights. He got Anthony Joshua early on, and he got Anthony Joshua because the best platform was Sky, you know. And I think in many ways we are going to benefit from the fact that this fight of Anthony Joshua's the most important fight of his career, the most important fight for the heavyweight division, frankly, is going to be widely publicised on Sky in the build-up to this fight in the next 6 weeks.
I think in this situation, the fans win massively. Yeah. Mainly because, one, if you like going to a public house to watch your fights, the deals are already done. Obviously, DAZN haven't secured those deals with pubs and those licences as of yet. I believe they've started that process, but it's not to any level that Sky have done in the past. So therefore, if you're a guy and girl that likes to go out and watch the fight, you can do that. You can obviously, it's very easy to access via your box at home if you've got your subscriptions and what have you. Very easy to do. It's a very, very easy process. So from a consumer point of view, I think it's very, very good. I'm just worried from a DAZN point of view, it doesn't look good because once this fight is over, let's say Anthony Joshua wins, and let's say we try to make a Tyson Fury fight. If there is a situation where they have a dual broadcaster situation, because we've had this in the past with big fights, you've got your broadcaster that's connected to Tyson Fury, he comes in, and then you've got your broadcaster that's connected to Anthony Joshua. They both want to show it. The person at home is always going to go to the one that is the easiest one to fathom out. And the easiest one to fathom out at this moment in time is BT Sport. That's the easiest thing. So therefore, what is the win for DAZN at the moment?
Well, they're going to have to... Well, the win is that they will be able to put it on their DAZN Plus platform, which will be a red button by then. And people will be able to buy it